Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Energy Capital interview. We are very excited about today's guest. He is Al Barner, Senior Vice President of Strategic Fleet Solutions. Hello, Al. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, Anna. I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. So, Al, I was wondering if you could please tell us more about the challenges carried over by heavy-duty truck transportation in the oil and gas industry and why they are still a challenge.
Yeah, it's by all means, it's a challenging environment that we're working in today. At Fleet Advantage, we're very good at helping our clients manage transportation assets. In fact, right now we've got almost $2 billion worth of assets under management. So the challenges, if I had to sum up the state of the industry in one word, I would say that word would be shortage. We have a shortage of trucks. We have a shortage of replacement parts. And as you're very well aware, we have a shortage of drivers. So the supply chain issues that have occurred over the last 18 months have made it a challenge to get new equipment into service, which has also then caused used truck values to skyrocket. And then the other issue we have is the fact that companies are starting to prolong the life cycle of their equipment, and we're starting to see part shortages. Now, we've known about the driver shortage for quite some time now, and obviously that's not getting any better. In particular, the challenge with the oil and gas industry, anytime you have an industrial gas or a hazmat type of a application, you need to hire and retain experienced drivers. So those folks are often trying to recruit, and a lot of times they're doing that through advertising the quality of their equipment, the culture of their company. So these are the things that we're seeing on a regular basis, and we anticipate the supply chain issue to get better sometime in the near future, but we're going to continue to have issues with driver hiring and retention due to the fact that right now estimates from the American Trucking Association are that there's 80,000 drivers short, and they anticipate that in the next 5 to 10 years that's going to grow to 160,000 drivers that we're going to be short. So those challenges are going to persist.
So, Al, you have identified how to recruit and retain truck drivers, which is not easy these days. How are leading fleets doing it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the leading fleets are leading with culture. And whether you're trying to hire a driver or someone else within the organization, good qualified people are attracted to good, strong corporate cultures. And a lot of times we see that the most successful companies have a very good communication strategy for all levels of the organization. So one of the surveys one of the issues that we consistently see when we discuss with our clients driver turnover, the surveys they receive back is poor communication. So if you think about a driver, his world or her world is in the seat of that truck, and they want to know that they've got good quality equipment that's well maintained, but they also want to make sure that they're properly compensated. And if they're having any type of issues with breakdowns or things of that nature, then oftentimes that impacts their compensation. So a lot of the better companies are leading with culture, and then they obviously focus on good, newer equipment. That's one of the recruiting tools that a lot of good companies use to bring qualified drivers in or to keep them within their ranks. And then when I start to talk about communication, I think everybody in the organization should have a good understanding of the life cycle that the company plans to engage in. And most times that's very important to the driver. If you're going to use new equipment to entice drivers to come in, those drivers want to understand that you've got a robust life cycle plan to continually replace that equipment. So if you share with them the total life cycle costs in regards to fuel economy, safety features, maintenance and repair costs, and that you have a 36-month window that you plan to replace equipment. Now, I'm not saying that you have to replace equipment every 36 months, but what I'm saying is that when companies look at their replacement strategy, they should have at least a 36-month replacement plan. And if the driver sees that he's going to be consistently in newer, maintained equipment, then obviously the opportunity to retain or hire those drivers improves with that.
Yeah, and it's really interesting how you're always thinking about the life cycle. So thank you very much for sharing that to us. And I was wondering, how can leading fleets create a culture that acknowledges safety and driver input?
Yeah, I think that also plays into having a very aggressive trade cycle. The safety features are enhanced year over year. So each model year, the safety features are improved. So a lot of the safety features that may have been an additional cost or option 4 or 5 years ago are now all standard on the equipment. So if you look at safety features alone, a 4 to 5 year old tractor is obsolete when you consider the lane departure, collision avoidance, and all of the different things that now are standard on a lot of the equipment. So not only do drivers want to make sure that they have good quality, well-maintained equipment, but they also want to have the latest safety features. So, and in particular, when you're talking about any type of a hazmat environment, which obviously is industrial gas and oil and gas, then those safety features are very, very important, not only to the driver, but to the risk management team, to the safety team, all the way up through the organization. So if you have a culture that is based upon quality and safety, that it's permeated throughout the organization from the top to the bottom. So now what we're seeing now is due to the supply chain issues, some companies are starting to extend out those life cycles, which means that they've got to be very aggressive with their maintenance and repair programs, have data analytics to show what the potential breakdown issues may be as they hit certain mileage marks. So at Fleet Advantage, one of the things that we're very, very good at is understanding total life cycle costs. We've been able to connect into shop management systems and onboard computer systems. So what we provide our clients is a look at the total life cycle cost by monitoring what the odometer reading is, what the fuel consumption is, what the maintenance and repair costs are down to the VRMS code. And again, this all goes into the culture of one, making sure you got good, safe equipment out on the road, but also drivers want to drive, they want to be in good, safe, well-maintained equipment. And that could be put together in kind of a communication format for them as well, so that they see that the company is working hard to make sure that their career path and their opportunities to make a living are supported by this strategy.
Al, can all this be done while leveraging a more aggressive trade cycle driven by flexibility in operations and finance?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that Fleet Advantage is very good at is understanding life cycle costs through the use of data analytics. So when we start to look at 18 billion miles worth of data that we have in our system, and you start to see that year over year, the fuel economy improvements, the maintenance and repair costs within those warranty periods, and then the safety enhancements on new model year equipment, you could start to hone in on the most cost-effective life cycle. I think sometimes we get a little bit short-sighted, and we get a little excited about all this talk about electric trucks. But I want to make sure that we're clear that clean diesel technology has advanced rapidly over the last 5 to 6 years, and it will continue to improve. So when you start to look at those life cycle costs, you're getting better fuel economy year over year with each model year. You're getting enhanced safety features with new equipment, and you drop back down to year one maintenance. And when you can start to track all of that with a data analytics system, you could see that those shorter life cycles not only reduce costs for the customer, but it also entices those drivers with good, well-maintained, newer equipment. So all of those things play into a culture that permeates from top to bottom, focused on safety and reliability.
Thank you. And it's really interesting how you're always talking about culture and how this is just a teamwork thing. So that's great. And I was wondering, how does Fleet Advantage's software Atlas work?
Yeah, that's a sophisticated tool that we've built. So we have a proprietary technology system. It's a cloud-based system. So we're aggregating data from multiple systems that aren't currently connected. So we have the ability to connect into our client's shop management system. We have the ability to connect into the onboard computer system. And then we supplement maintenance data and fuel and odometer data with our own historical data, such as the cost of funds, new truck OECs, as well as resale values. So when you start to put that all together and you can sit down with your clients and perform a quarterly business review that shows them here's their cost by year, make, and miles, and then you compare that to the new equipment, then they can see very easily the benefit of taking advantage of those more aggressive trade cycles. Now, we combine that with a flexible finance program. So we may go out and originate, let's say, a 5-year lease term, but if we have the data that shows our client that we should exit out of that equipment in year 4, they have the ability to do that. Now, what's happening now in our industry is, unfortunately, companies are being forced to prolong that lease because we can't get new equipment. And that's why we advocate to our clients that you've got to know up front that you have the flexibility to either exchange out of equipment early or have the ability to extend that equipment at a reduced rate. So unfortunately, there are a lot of companies out there that are locked into an extension period because they can't get new equipment and they're not getting the benefit of a lower rate. In our program, we would reduce that rate by 20% of the original lease payment. And that's all documented in front. So when we start to talk about life cycle costs, one of the things that we focus on very clearly is providing our clients with data analytics, with the flexibility to exit out of the equipment at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Al. And you've mentioned a lot about how we have faced some problems regarding COVID-19. So I was wondering, what would you say are the challenges that heavy-duty truck transportation faces?
Well, I think the challenges are uncertainty, right? So we've just come off of, hopefully we're on the downward end of COVID. We've been able to work through that. Obviously, it had a very significant impact on supply chain, and now we've got other market dynamics such as the war in the Ukraine. So I think that when you start to look at all of the issues and the challenges that the oil and gas industry and the industrial gas are faced with, it's uncertainty, right? Yeah. So when you have uncertainty, the best way to deal with uncertainty is have a good, robust plan of at least a 36-month window for replacement strategy, but also align yourself with partners that provide you with the maximum flexibility. And that's one of the things that we really focus on at Fleet Advantage, is making sure that when we engage our clients in any type of a lease opportunity, we structure it properly from the start of the transaction, but also give them the ability to exit out at the appropriate time through our early exchange or our extension with a drop-down rate. Now, obviously, all of that is supported with data analytics. So right now, we're in a situation where a lot of our clients are extending equipment out, which makes it challenging for them to budget. But if you have access to the data and you have a company that can aggregate that into a useful format, then you could start to adjust those budgets so that you accommodate for that longer life cycle if in fact you've got to extend equipment out.
Yeah, thank you, Al. And well, my last question would be, are there any lessons about these challenges that you could share with us?
Yeah, I think the lessons are is have a good long-term game plan, but you also obviously need to be able to pivot and adjust those game plans, in our particular example, life cycle strategies based on what's occurring in the market. So the best way to do that is to have proper communication within your company, have access to data, and then obviously with all the data available to us now, we've got a lot of white noise, so to speak, in the background. So just adding more data into the pile that just gets kind of overlooked, having the ability to aggregate that into a useful format and then make business decisions from that. But the other thing that I would like to kind of stress here is let's not forget that clean diesel technology is the most efficient form of transportation that we know of today. And when there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, you want to rely on proven technology that's very good, and it's improving every year. So I think sometimes we get distracted with what the future brings, and it's good to have the foresight to understand what those technologies will offer. But right now, clean diesel technology is the best in the market.
Yeah, thank you, Al. So that will be all from us. Thank you very much for your time, Al. This was really, we really enjoyed listening to you. And thank you very much to all our audience. And I'll see you in the next Energy Capital interview. Thank you, Al. Bye.
Thank you, Anna, so much for your time. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.